Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Technology Show, where our experts translate geek into regular speak. How do you feel about mixed reality versus virtual reality? And what are your thoughts? Gadgets or games? And where exactly are you on the battlefield of Windows versus Apple? Stay tuned for our special geek guests. And now, it's over to our techsperts.
It is the Technology Show where we translate geek
into regular speak.
I'm Brett Levy, and with me is Aryeh Sternberg. What's up?
Tell you what's up.
Tell me.
That's
why I asked.
Don't have an umbrella, and
I know it looks like it's about to belt.
Well, it was said it's going to rain today, and I was thinking, okay, I'm just going to roll the dice, and I came out around 6:30, no rain. I came out from the gym at about 8:30, no rain. Still waiting for the rain. So.
Okay, well, sometimes you win. I mean, that's what gambling's all about, right?
So
what isn't a gamble is something that we're going to look at in the app of the week.
App of the week, what is it?
It is called Toggl, as in all modern day spelling. People don't know how to spell, or rather trying to get the word. So it's Toggl. There's no E at the end of it. Very simple, very functional, very cool. How was that for varies? Very, very. Basically, if you're in the professional services industry like we are, if you're consulting or designing or doing anything that involves time, the biggest question that we get asked by customers is, how much time did you spend on that because you're billing in time, okay? Or more importantly, even if you're not billing, but if you want to just track your time, like understand where your time's going and what you're spending your time on, it's a time tracker. Is this unique? No, there's probably hundreds of them. Why did I go with this one? 2 reasons. 3 reasons, maybe even 4. I don't know, but let's go through the reasons. So first of all, iOS and Android. It is an app. Then it has a web app as well. In fact, I set mine up on the web, so you go through to a browser. But I think, Aryeh, you made this app of the week a few months ago, and if not, we've definitely talked about it. Is a very cool product called Station.
Yep.
I think their website's GetStation, not .com, and Station lets you have one dashboard that controls everything from Zero to your mail to WhatsApp to Slack to everything. So it's just one place, like a railway station, and all your apps sit there. I use Station all day long. Mine's open as we speak.
Yep.
Toggl even has a Station integration. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can remember to start your timer. There is a free version and a paid version. I only have the free version at the moment. So guys on Toggl, if you're listening, if you want to send us some vouchers for the paid one, that'll be great. Yeah. But on the free version, you can still use the start-stop button, which is what you'd want for a timer. There is a manual time button, which allows you to go in and edit and or set time. So let's say you worked on a project this morning, or when a client phones you and you're not recording it, but you actually end up spending half an hour, A, talking to him, and B, then actioning or sending the emails. You could go back into Toggl and set that manually. So you could say, 6th of March, 10 o'clock, whatever it is, whatever, so on and so on. What's really cool, okay, is that it doesn't matter where you start, you can continue and or end and log somewhere else. So you could start on your phone and end on your computer, or inside Station, or start there and end on your phone. So that's also very cool. And then actually sends you a weekly report. Even on the free version, you get a weekly report saying between X date and Y, you spent this many hours, and the names of the projects. You can name your projects, so your clients or your projects. I'm not sure what the paid version does. As I said, I don't have it, and I'm assuming it will probably give you maybe more data, maybe allow you to add notes. I think that's it. It lets you add notes into your work. I think it allows you to invoice and or send out into invoicing format. So there are definitely features. From a UI UX point of view, very easy, self-explanatory, no rocket science. So from that point of view, I thought I'd make it an app of the week, and it just works. I've been using it now for the last 10 days. I use it every day, and I'm pretty happy with it.
I'd be curious to see how people that are in the project management space, or digital producers, or people that are just living on the clock, are working between.
You said clock.
Clock.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, living on the clock. Yeah. Not.
You said clock.
Yeah, that wasn't.
You said clock.
The use and the importance of time tracking, particularly when you're doing work that is based on how you use your time, is huge. And the larger the organization, the more important it can become to finding ways to make it easier to track and do that.
100%.
Right? So
I think you've also hit a nail on the head on the paid feature is the group. You can have group. So like if you were a project
teams.
lead, so you've got a team that works for you and they're working on multiple projects. I think you can actually track all of that in your dashboard as a team lead. If not, guys, I hope you're listening, because there's definitely a feature that would make sense.
Yeah.
But that's our biggest problem. I mean, you and I have talked about this for the last 2 years, is there are only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
How do you make them count? And I'm not talking just financially, right? Even if you were using this for a project, if you had a side project and you wanted to allocate, I don't know, 10 hours a week, you could do that. And you can actually track your project. So it gets to Wednesday and you've already done 10 hours. You've just got to be disciplined, man. You just got to stop. You've done your 10 hours. It's over.
Do you have any idea if they have integrations with platforms like Zendesk and other HR platforms?
It's a very good question. I don't know. You see, I've seen those on Station, so I'm getting a bit confused now. On Station, there's Zendesk and that. I mean, we're not talking about Station now, but that really is a great app. If people aren't using it, I know you found that. There's only one bugbear I have with Station. In the Gmail app, remember I was trying to solve my Gmail problem, so that's why I reset Station. It doesn't track HubSpot. So you have to be in Gmail to track in HubSpot.
On the web.
Because it's basically an iframe. It's framing in your... So it doesn't track. So for me, I can't use Gmail and Station. Otherwise, it's magic.
I now have 6 different Google email accounts.
Oh, gosh.
And I tried to follow a mate, shout out to Christian Cadeo for trying to help me out, but because other companies are controlling the privacy and the security levels, there are certain things I cannot do. So if I want to do a single shared calendar, I can't see, edit, and add. I can only see, and it'll say, time blocked or whatever based on the thing. So I've got to have multiple calendars. And then the Gmail itself, as a mail client, again, same problem. I can't access all the Gmails from a single account because of that. So I was trying to set up Outlook and then Gmail. For whatever reason,
you're hurting my head. But those are the problems with those type of tools, right?
This is the call out is as for the app of the week and the future show. If there is an email client that works across PC and Mac, and is just makes it easy, and this is the reason I mention this is because it's called
Shift. Have a look at Shift.
I'll look at Shift.
I think it's called Shift. Make a note to yourself on Shift.
Shift.
I think Shift is trying to solve exactly what you're describing, because I think I've dabbled with it.
So not the Shift on the last show with Bent and Carl Sternberg.
No, not the company Shift.
Yeah.
No. Well, they're both companies, but not Bent. Shout out to Bent and Carl.
Woo.
No, it's Shift. It's like a black. I might even have it, man. I'll show you. But yeah, we went from top, but even here, this is all about time management, right?
Yep.
This is why these type of apps actually exist. If you can get back 10 minutes in an hour. So
I had a conversation about this, and this brings up kind of a topic you and I are very, very keen on, and more so from, when we interviewed Sophia and talking about artificial intelligence. AI works in such a way that when you provide it information, it goes through that information, looks for trends and looks for ways that it can then categorize information and learn from that and sort of teach itself to tell you what it thinks you're looking for, right? And so I actually had a conversation this morning with a guy in India talking about time management solutions, and we use a tool called Teamwork. And Teamwork is the same kind of a thing.
Isn't that Mac? I mean Windows. Oh, that's Teams. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is Teamwork, and a similar concept. It looks like Toggl might be even more simplified in terms of how you work it. Now, the question I have is, if you gave a platform access to your Google apps, Calendar, Gmail, Maps across your different devices, and it had an element of natural language processing to be able to read the content that you're writing and read the emails you're sending, read the context.
I'll take one of those, please.
Couldn't it potentially automate
Your time management.
The time management,
Definitely.
the tracking, right?
Definitely.
Trips,
you're right.
where you're going,
Yep.
who you're seeing, time spent. Like, why do we have to spend those? I mean, this is great.
Doesn't Google do that already, though? I mean, they won't admit it. Like, you know when you get those
Yeah.
Because you're a level 5 on maps, right?
Yeah.
So they already...
I'm level 8.
Sorry. You're hold on. There we go.
That was it.
You have to be over level 5, I think, to get that AR feature you got. So that's why I thought level 5, but level 8. The fact that you've seen what I'm talking about, you get those emails that pinpoints everything you've done, where you've walked, which cities you've seen, how many steps you've taken. You never gave it that permission, but it was somewhere in the T's and C's, right? So the answer is they probably can do it already.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that when you start moving into the office of the future or the tech of the future, when we get rid of laptops and we're all using just headsets, that's when you're going to see that, because it's going to go, well, if you're sitting talking to Aryeh, it's business, so therefore log it as business and pop the question, was that billable? If it was, export it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's just putting that question, were you meeting
I
this
think
person,
Toggl
yes or no?
actually
right?
does have that feature in premium. I think I've seen a little dollar sign, so you can actually click billable
or not.
and it'll export for into your, So, but you're right. We need that all-in-one, that omni, you know?
Yeah.
And there's got to be clever people out there that can do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking about an app in a few weeks or months' time when they're ready that does a whole thing with a calendar integration, maps, auto setting. Really, really cool. I'm not going to talk about it now because it's not really ready yet. I've been lucky enough to play the beta, but it's pretty cool. So would that wrap us for Toggl and Station and omni-channel voice recognition, automatic timing stuff, but all about tracking your time. I have been so dying to talk about this because we mentioned last week or week before that MWC was on Mobile World Congress. I've now been living here for 2 years, so that means it's 3 years since I've been to MWC in Barcelona, and the FOMO level this year was ridiculous. We've been saying for weeks, like, when is something in mobile actually going to happen, like something different? And good old Samsung came out with a Fold and was like, okay, boom, mic drop, and walked out the room. In fact, they dropped it before Barcelona. I think it was like a day before or 2 days before, which was very sneaky of them. But so Mobile World Congress, I definitely am going to get there next year. I'm making it a promise to myself.
You're going to make it?
I'm going to somehow, in fact, I'm going to speak to Angela. Angela, I know you listen to the show. Well, you have to, you produce it. I really do think that the TechKnowledgy show should broadcast from Mobile World Congress in Barcelona next year, and you're more than welcome to come with. I can show you the sights and sounds of Barcelona. That being said, just before we even talk about all the cool stuff that happened there, I see they're finally now doing an MWC in the States. There's going to be one in, I think it's October, either in Vegas or San Fran.
Okay.
Now, I want to go because I love going to the States. I just don't know. Like, I don't want to be disappointed. You know what I mean? Like, this is the clone show. This is the America, let's make America great again. If it happens here, who cares about the rest of the world kind of thing. So Mobile World Congress is not America, it's the world. You know, the world converges there.
Yeah.
But then again, all the Americans left Mobile World Congress this year because Huawei had presence and stand. So they didn't want to, something about the tag, the lanyards. They wouldn't wear the lanyards because the lanyards were sponsored by Huawei. And so they took their lanyards off or something. I'm like, come on, guys.
Oh, America.
Anyway, on to the happy stuff. I want to kick it off because there's one thing that summed up MWC, and it's something that we can definitely talk about as well before we talk about all the cool gadgets and gizmos. And it's two little letters, or numbers and letters, 5G. This entire show was dedicated to 5G. So again, going back to what I was saying, like, we're not seeing new handsets, we're not seeing this, we're not seeing that. We're about to move into a new event horizon of absolute extreme magnitude. Now, just to quickly, because we translate geek into regular speak, I found a really, really nice way of describing 5G. The 5G networks are the next generation, the G's generation of mobile internet connectivity. It offers faster speeds and more reliable connections on smartphones and other devices than ever before. It combines cutting-edge network technology and the very latest research. And 5G should, I love the word should offer connections that are multitudes faster than current connections, with an average download speed of 1 gigabit per second expected to be the norm. The networks will, however, will help power a huge rise in the Internet of Things. So that's the other big importance of 5G. And they provide the infrastructure needed to carry the huge amount of data. And they're expecting that most networks will be launched by 2020. So that's the quick summation. Now, there's two things that people wouldn't know, or probably don't know. The difference between 3G and 4G was double. It wasn't like the next generation, because the G stands for generation. The difference between 4G and 5G is double again. So we're really going supersonically fast. However, 5G is getting a very bad rap. There's scientists out there that are jumping on and just saying it's going to kill us. Literally, they're using those words.
No, that's my position. Is
there we go. So I thought I'd bring it up because I know you've read a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, 5G is... there's certainly a lot of hype about it, and I think there's a lot of, and I'm sure you'll be looking at some of the specific use cases in there, but I think there's a bigger case around it. The other evil side of 5G is that, and I think it's a question of what is the use case of the technology? Is it sitting on the edge? Is it a device that is going to be just a dumb, really awesome screen and camera? And all
from the hardware
the data,
point of view,
and hardware, and all the data is being stored in the cloud and being and streamed.
That wouldn't be a bad thing, though, would it? Because if you lose your device, you don't lose anything.
It's true, but think about the U.S. and about data and privacy, and AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, they all go nuts on that, and suddenly, not like you no longer store anything, and they own that, and so it's like they're taking away from Google, from whoever.
Okay, let me ask you a question. It's on the same vein, because I know that we have very different proponents when it comes to 5G. I'm the kind of guy like, if it fries my brain and kills me, okay, at least I died going fast.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was like that on 4G, 3G, 2G, and 1G. In fact, Gail was saying to the other night, "Oh, you got Wi-Fi all over the house. We're gonna fry." So I opened up my browser and I showed her how many Wi-Fi networks there were. I'm like, I guarantee you, if I turn mine off, ain't gonna make any difference.
Yeah.
You're in a mesh. So as long as I've known you, you've been an Android user. You swear by Android. You're very, very involved in the whole of the G Suite environment. So you've bought into it. I've said it many times, even though I'm an Apple user, I use Google. I even joke and go, "Hey Siri, open Google." I still do. Would you be concerned? This is the question. Would you as a new Aryeh, would you actually be concerned that your data was sitting in the cloud and someone else has control and clutch? Because you're kind of conditioned to doing that already. Because your phone, you can pick up any device and have everything you want already with Google. So
there's an interesting point here, and I had a conversation
earlier
today. Yeah, no. There's what's being done now with data in the advertising and marketing space, which is the beginning of creepy, where they're using the audio on phones to actually listen to conversations and feed you ads based on what you were talking about. And that's now been documented, not proven, but documented enough where, people have talked about something and an ad shows up later in the day, whether it's a Toyota car or some kind of fashion or liposuction, whatever it might be. And it's stuff that just you did not look for, right? But then you get into the space of credit checking, and when the government starts getting involved, and when it's a democracy where the ownership of data is quasi-protected, right? We all know.
I like that, quasi.
It's quasi-protected.
Right. No, you're right.
If they wanted to, they know everything.
And they do, right? They just say they're not looking at it.
But then you get into China, where you've got facial recognition, you've got this social points system.
I know. You remember that show we talked about that?
Millions of people could not travel this Christmas time because they had done
they
whatever,
were below
the
their
credit
point
check,
of,
below the point check.
Yeah.
Like they were stopped at the train station or to buy flights. That's where I think you cross a line. And we, the average Joe, you know what? You serve me a better ad, and you know that I actually prefer to have like mozzarella versus cheddar right
and you're
now.
Happy.
Yeah, give it to me.
Yeah.
However, and especially if you give me a discount on that, I'll take it. But don't give me a discount when I would have gotten a cheaper price by walking into the store and manipulating my understanding of what's actually happening around me. That's my fear.
If you take that off the table, let's just go back to China. Look, China's a special place. Okay, I really mean that with respect. It's a special place. What they get away with there, and more importantly, what they do that we don't know about, and the way they literally have that wall around them. It's different to the rest of the world. Okay, and I know they make up a very big part of the world, but if you take that special circumstance off the table, like you personally, do you actually care, like that Google and or Telstra or whoever your provider has access to information? I'm not talking about your personal information, if your HIV status, your whatever. I'm talking about 99% of the information. The fact that your emails go through there, the fact that your phone numbers sit up there, maybe pictures of your kid or your cat or your dog or whatever it is. Do you actually, like, are you going to wake up in the night and go, shit, Big Brother, you know?
When is the last time you tried to change from carrier to carrier?
Only when I moved to Australia. So I actually haven't really switched, ported.
Imagine you get the craps with whatever, if you're on Telstra and you want to move to Optus, and Telstra says, okay, not only are we not going to give you your number, all that data and everything you've been transacting with us, yeah, you're going to have to pay
But
$10,000.
Don't the laws protect us on that, though? Because, like, you can port. They can't hold your number. And I hear you as a concern. No, okay, but the governments would step in straight away and stop them doing that. They have to.
Just like our 457 visas that no longer exist.
Yeah, okay, that's a valid point. I don't have, yeah, okay. So, all right, but then take the trade-off. Supersonic speed. The device is absolutely irrelevant now, and you can never lose anything.
Oh, yeah.
So there has to be... There's
VR, augmented reality,
yeah,
the
like
capability.
That, all the processing's happening there, and you've just seen.
Totally. My only concern is
the big data. Yeah.
The last one you said. I personally, I think that
you've already sold your soul, Sternberg.
No.
We both say own us.
I'm not going to get a 5G phone, and I may not be protected from the bulk of the potential health.
Oh, you wouldn't stick a 5G phone next to your head?
Well, the problem is it's not just in your head, but where you can put it in your pocket. You can keep it in like a lead case so it doesn't like...
But isn't this the same thing as what's been going on every time 4G, 3G and 2G come in? They haven't really proven it.
Well, I read an article that there were, I think it was Switzerland, that they were testing 5G antennas and like these birds were falling out of trees dead.
Yeah, but birds don't use cell phones. We do.
But it's the...
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like if that is happening, and these guys are going ahead and running on that, it's kind of like, yes, you do want to sell more technology and you want to get more money for your business, but let's do it safely. And I can see big pharma or big telcos just saying, let's just shove it down.
It's the same mentality as the cigarette industry, right? They've known from day dot it would kill us. It's taken 100 years for legislation to actually finally stop it.
Yeah.
So, and how many lung cancer victims over the period? So we probably have to go through it.
Cigarettes, you have a choice. You can buy them or not. You do get secondhand smoke.
What you're saying now is also
antennas.
different. 5G, you personally may choose not to have a device, but you're still in the umbrella.
That's it. Especially if it's like...
Look, it is coming, right?
Absolutely.
So I think maybe what you need to do is get like a tinfoil hat. And like one of those haz suits, what do they call them? The hazmat suits made out of tinfoil. Or what was that TV show where the guy locked himself up in his house? He wouldn't go out because of electromagnetivity. And his Better Call Saul. Remember the TV show Better Call Saul? His brother was an attorney and he wouldn't come outside because of and he put on a foil hat and that. So it's interesting. But look, you and I are sitting here talking, and even the listeners are saying it's coming, right? 2020 will be switched on pretty much globally.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting what happens with the devices. Speaking of which, let's go into some of the cool devices.
Sure.
You go first. I already know where you're going first.
I'm actually not going to go where you think I'm going to go.
No, I actually do know. I'm going to put my finger on it. Yeah? Tell me where you're going.
The first...
Yeah.
And the word... ridiculous was in the title. An 18,000 milliamp smartphone.
I'm wrong. Okay,
Energizer.
So just to cut you off, have a look there where I'm pointing. You're looking
at
it.
I'm sure it's there.
No, it's not that one, but yeah, I've got that one. Yeah. 18. Talk about the Power Max Pop.
Yep. So not only people think Energizer and Duracell, and you think batteries, and it would make sense they make an 18,000 milliamp phone, and a smartphone that is, but typical phones now have 4,000, maybe 5,000 in the super,
special you're right,
ones.
4 to 5.
Right, 18,000. It's like a brick, and then they have, and this is tied in, a foldable phone, plus some like ridiculous number, like 30 or 40 handsets.
Yeah,
this is Energizer.
I know,
not Samsung, Huawei,
However,
Oppo, or anything.
What you probably don't know, because that's only this type of shit that makes it to the headlines. Energizer's been making phones for about 3 years now. They did mainly the feature phones, right? I read that article with the word ridiculous and everything else as well. And I also thought, my God, that's stupid. However, where it's brilliant, okay, it's a battery pack that has a screen.
Sure.
You've got a battery pack that has a screen. Your screen only tells you the percentage remaining in your battery pack. So this one is a battery pack that has a screen, but the screen's a full Android.
Yeah.
So you can use it as a battery pack, but if your phone dies for any reason or you don't have your phone with you, your battery pack can
You
still...
got an extra one, yeah.
So, but yeah, the problem is it just weighs too much. You know that fashion where the guys walk with their pants hanging down around by their knees?
That's going to do it.
You're going to do that in business suits now if you're carrying one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see that. I was actually pointing, so I'm going to jump somewhere else. I had my finger hovering over one of the things I want to chat about that I thought you would talk about is the Microsoft HoloLens 2. Wow. Did you read up on any of the stuff? So we've always been favorites towards the HoloLens. I mean, for what it was as far as an MR headset.
Yeah.
But they've kind of listened. I wasn't sure if it was Microsoft for a second because actually listening to their consumers, it's lightweight. They've re-engineered the comfort, like the sponge and the way the clips fit over your head. They've put eye tracking technology in now, so you can actually start to use it. I wonder if that's Toby, your cousin, and that did the deal with them, or if they developed their own. It didn't say. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they did put they have actually built in the eye tracking software, which means that they could start bringing commands as well, especially if you're doing those presentations. I have to moan, and I'm not moaning because it's Microsoft. Okay, I have to moan that it's still enterprise geared.
It is.
Like, I understand niches and I understand, but why would you still make something specifically for the enterprise when you're seeing how everything else is blowing up around you, like for everyone?
But is it though?
No, I don't know. It's like almost, it's kind of a question that's also a statement.
So,
you know,
VR, we are undoubtedly the biggest fanboys of VR and AR and MR and everything XR that's out there.
XR,
right?
This is actually kind of Thingz and XR in one now.
It's a bit of Things in XR. But when we're talking about HoloLens 2, everything that they showed in the demos was education, business, enterprise, fixing things. Military was interestingly absent.
Well,
However,
we know why. Look at all
they are doing a military deal. But that, gaming, entertainment, it's just to spend lowered price, $3,500 now US, with a subscription basis. You can actually even afford to pay for it, like Fitness First does with the Apple Watch. Nice new band there, by the way.
I've had this for a while. Have you not noticed it?
No, I just noticed it.
Okay.
But the function over fashion, it's got to have a customer base. And with AR and trying to do the things that they're trying to sell, you've got to have a large enough enterprise, I did air quotes around enterprise, customer base to say, okay, I've got 50,000 people in the field that are doing something that could make, clearly benefit measurably by an investment in putting this gear on top of their heads.
Yeah. I get it. I just was hoping to have seen like almost a light version. Because, as much as it pains me, Microsoft is still the biggest PC platform. So at home, you probably have a Microsoft computer, not necessarily a Mac. You might have both, but even in my house, I've got 2 Microsoft machines. I've got Kate's gaming machine and I've got that Microsoft laptop that I've got as well. So there's every home that has a computer probably has a Microsoft computer. I was kind of hoping because they own Skype. The HoloLens was originally designed also to give you that conferencing where you can see inverted commas people and sitting.
LinkedIn as well.
Correct. And they own LinkedIn, correct. Well, that's going back to business. So Skype for home is still bigger than Skype for business. I could have put in a HoloLens and I could have had a really good home experience. But I can't spend $3,600 to do that. I can spend $1,600.
Plus, and I'm sure you'll mention it, but the Connect pieces on the sides, you could actually have a holographic experience.
Which is also, so I understand but my thing with technology is, as much as I love being first, I'm always happy to wait for second for 2 reasons. It's improved, it's better.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that just now on some of these other handsets, but also more importantly, it's affordable.
Yeah.
We were talking about my TV the other day. I paid a fortune for it. 3 years later, it's like you can put it in the street.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I'm not actually going to bash. I'm trying not to moan. I just thought, no, it was a great headset. the demo, I watched some of the demo videos of the lady doing the and that as well, kudos to them. It's always a guy in a black t-shirt up on the stage talking shit. They had a chick in a red shirt. It was awesome. She actually seemed like she was a bit nervous, like to start, but I don't know if that's because you kind of showing people something that they can't see. They got to watch the videos, you know.
Yeah.
But then she warmed up and she was showing like how your hands articulate. It was good. Where's my bell? Well done, Microsoft HoloLens 2. I liked it. I'm not going to bash it. It was good.
I'll do slight bash.
Slight bash.
When the HoloLens first came out, we all saw these videos of a full experience.
Field of view. Yeah,
and so that makes you imagine and think that everywhere around you, everything is. And in the field of view, which is basically where you see the holographic experience in that augmented space, is, that Band-Aid strip is now a little bit bigger.
Yeah, you're right.
It is bigger, but it's not
still
all immersive.
It's still like watching through a TV.
Yeah. So when they show you the demo of the skeleton on the screen, you pull it apart and you see, it splits into all the different body parts and stuff, right? You see a strip of the body. You don't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
You have to actually put your head up and down to see it.
You're right. But that's also why they've always gone under the fact that it's mixed reality. They haven't actually taken a VR stance. So, but you're right. It will come. Maybe by number 3. Can we go back to the Bazaar?
Yeah, let's go to the Bazaar, definitely.
Okay. The Nokia 9 preview.
Is this the one with the 6 cameras?
5 cameras.
Jeez.
Okay.
5 looks like a spider's eye, man.
Correct. Well, me and spiders, right?
Yeah.
So straight away I looked at this thing and I thought, okay, that's all I want to see is people walking. Can you imagine me walking down the street and I turn my head and someone's got a phone next to their ear and all I see is what looks like spider's eyes. Nokia, I love you as a brand, but really, wow. Everyone's starting on 3 cameras now, which I'm kind of understanding. I'm not a huge photo person, but I understand the 3rd camera, what it does, that final little bit that it does that the dual didn't do. But 5,
okay.
Please tell me why.
So,
and I think 2 or 3 on the front. I think there's 8 on this camera, on this phone.
So 5 cameras. Each camera has its own specifications, and each camera can take multiple shots, and so you get the ultimate best shot ever. My add-on to your why is when the Pixel 3 is basically able to do the same thing using AI and using technology to actually pull out. And
that's only got a dual camera. It doesn't even have 3.
No,
the Pixel 3.
Yeah, Pixel is, I think, is 1 camera.
That's right. It's got the
got 1 camera.
Big massive camera. That's right.
Mine has 2 on the Note 8, and it can do sort of that field of view, and you can do
you can do your depth.
Exactly. And so, it's not. It's definitely for a certain audience that's what they want. It's. This sounds
Why
weird.
don't you just buy a DSLR?
Well, that's it.
You know what I mean?
It's the camera purists that want to have that flexibility and functionality. But the problem is you've already crossed that border into your phone. You're using some semblance of AI to actually make the pictures better. You just have more lenses.
Okay, so here's my next thing. I think each lens is 12 megapixels from a rating. Although you're 100% right. One will do black and white. One will do color enhancement. So 12 fives is 60. You take one picture and you have no memory left in your phone.
Hey, that's what I was wondering.
You know what I mean? Can you imagine the size of these files?
Yeah.
So, Nokia is famous for disruptive phones. They've done amazing stuff over the years. In fact, the reference to this is the old PureView. It had 40 megapixels, it looked like a Gillette thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the N9 came out, which was with MeGo. So and they had the Game Boy. They've always done weird stuff. I have to then etch this one up to it's that phone. This is the one they'll make maybe 100 of or 1,000 of or something and give them away to people, and then that was it. But wow.
I think that there's a few others that fall into that category. Did you see the new Sony Xperia 1?
I was going to talk on this, Sony. Now, I want to ask you a question, okay? Because I don't put that into the weird. I actually was quite impressed with what Sony did. Have you ever owned a Sony?
I have.
Okay,
Sony
so
Xperia phones are solid
correct.
phones. They're
and Kate's
good
got
phones.
a Sony Xperia at the moment.
Yeah.
And my Android phone when I was in South Africa was always a Sony.
Yeah.
Did you notice that they've done the 21:9 ratio?
Well, that
was interesting.
The ultra long. I mean, that's my question mark is, it makes me think of, you had the regular Snickers bar, and then they had the Snickers like extra, right? Those
Why'd you
extra
have to go
long.
to Snickers, man? Now I'm going to want chocolate. So
But-
someone
but
got chocolate, please.
It was like in the U.S. we had Baby Ruth and Snickers, and they had the regular size, and they had this extra long, like chunky one. And
Yeah.
it makes me think of that when you've got like, forget it's already long enough. Let's make it longer. It does make sense though for people with small hands.
Correct.
Donald Trump.
and me.
Yeah.
But, I think the new format is 18.9, right? That's where all our phones are going at the moment. It was 16.9, then we'll move to 18.9. So same width, but higher, longer.
Yeah.
The 21.9 it makes sense when you read the next part of it, that it's a 4K OLED HDR screen.
Yep.
Now remember, Sony have made their name in music and TV. The whole Bravia range, they were the Rolls Royce of TV before Samsung really got going, and LG and everyone else. If you owned a Sony TV, you owned a TV.
Bravia was,
that was the Rolls Royce. So they are a screen company. They know how to make really shit hot screens. So 21. So when you're watching content, because remember that's what we do on
it's a
our
proper
phone.
widescreen movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you don't have those extra lines. So I'm going to say well done to them. They've packed a triple camera in there as well, but that's now the norm, right? Every phone's going to have a triple camera. The Jules old school.
I'm looking for the red Netflix version,
What's that?
like a Netflix Sony partnership. where you have a dedicated
that's
Netflix
not a bad
on the
idea.
phone. Yeah.
Where it's actually built in and your subscription, all that's. They can't do it though because Sony is an entertainment company as well.
Yeah. No, they wouldn't. They
But
wouldn't touch it.
there's
With
no
Spider-Man.
reason. There's no reason though why a Huawei or a, Alcatel or anyone could actually do that, right?
Totally.
Because shit, that's actually quite clever because it's all about content. Sit on a train in any first world country, and people are watching content on their phones. They're watching YouTube or Netflix or. So I like the Sony. I must say, I actually thought it was quite good. Also, they use mirrorless camera technology. They don't use. All the other guys have got mirrors and AR. They're mirrorless.
Yep.
So
There's obviously a place that we need to go with this, but I'm going to wait to go there. Not quite yet, because I think that Alcatel, who I'm shirt I'm wearing, who is
Nice shirt,
a good
man.
friend of the show.
well, let's just take a break. The Alcatel One giveaway continues.
Yes.
More phones. So guys, follow the posts, and it's probably apt to talk in the middle of Mobile World Conference about giving away a phone. So we are giving away another phone. So yeah, you need to follow us. Right, but carry on.
Alcatel 3 and the 3L.
They got
And
good ratings, man.
Good
You've
ratings.
reviewed the 3.
Reviewed the 3.
Yeah.
Marcia's still very happy with the 3. It continues to go, and for what it is and for the price point, it's hard to do better than that.
That was the trend. This is actually a perfect time to talk about it. And thanks again, Alcatel. But it's a perfect trend that's going on in the industry, where Samsung and now Huawei and always Apple have been charging stupid money for their phones. The middle tier guys are saying, we've learned what you've done. We're able to do what you're doing. We're packing what you're doing. We talked about the Honor 8 with your parents last week or week before, whenever the show was. And these guys are producing phones that are not breaking your pocket, making you also feel more free that if you lose it or break it, you're not going to slit a wrist to repair it. It's like $500. Okay, it's still $500. It's not $1,800.
Lower.
Sure, but what? Not the 3. I'm saying like if you buy the Honor, I think the Honor is like $500 or $600, and it $300 for the 8X. See, so $300.
$300 US.
Okay, so
it's
400.
Yeah,
but still sub $500.
Yeah,
and it does a decent job.
Yeah,
I mean it's not like it doesn't feel bad. That 3 that you're talking about felt good. It had an aluminium case to it, so it wasn't just plastic. So I think the days of the premium phone are very limited. Everyone was mocking Apple when they came out with the SE and now the XR sitting in between. I think they're positioning the company to actually have the consumers ready to get a cheaper device, because we can't carry on like this. Well, that's a perfect entrance into either the Galaxy, the Fold, or the X, the Mate. Their pricing's mad. Which one do you want to talk about?
So, yes and no. I think both of them. For those of you who don't know, Samsung has been teasing the market for a couple years now that they're going to come out with a foldable phone.
Yeah. They still weren't the first. I have to give credit to those guys at Royale.
Yeah. So the Samsung Fold at $1,980 is $180 $1,180. It's $180 more than the Apple 10. $1,800.
Yeah.
So it's not unreasonable to have a price there. Now, $2,300 or $2,600 for the Huawei Mate.
It's mad, right?
I'm.
You know how they justified it though. So here's. I'm just looking for my article, my notes on that. They justified it saying that if you bought a high-end Huawei, so the normal, it is called the Mate, I think.
Mate P20 or Mate 20, yeah.
And you bought their Mate 20 tablet, the 8-inch, because this is now both in one, right? You're kind of paying that money anyway, maybe a bit more. But if I break one, I still have the other.
Yeah.
If I break this, I'm stuffed. And my battery life on this kills both my my tablet and my phone. So you can't really justify that. You should be discounting the stuff to make me replace 2 units with one. You know,
it's the beginning, and it's kind of like the notch. I think that we're going to see foldable phones.
#notch.
#notch. Now, neither of these is a killer of the tablet, I don't think.
No, it's actually an enhancement. It makes people start thinking about their tablets again. Actually,
comes back to it. I don't know. From a form factor perspective, which one I would rather have. From a fit in your pocket perspective, the Mate clearly is the winner.
Because the way it folds.
Yeah, it's way thinner.
Yeah.
It's a
but
single
did you see
phone.
that funny little piece that it's got?
The thick thing, right?
Yeah,
and so
where the cameras sit.
Right, cameras. And so someone would say, like, okay, that's kind of like the place where you hold it. It's like, well, it looks...
They're awkward though, man.
Totally.
The device is awkward.
Totally. And I think that it needs to get out into the public. People need to get their hands on it, try it, play with it, and
Look,
use
I
it.
would love to own one because of what I am and who I am, and I know you would as well.
I would rock it in a second.
But it's they awkward
to the point of the Xperia One, the Sony Xperia One, and what happened when the iPhone 10 first came out, having to change apps. The one thing that complaints came around the Samsung Fold is that apps just don't render correctly on the large screen.
Oh yeah,
You know, apps aren't like what do you call it? Websites that are
they're not auto-responsive.
No, they're not responsive.
They're built for screen size.
And so yes, you can have an app on there, but what are you going to do with that? If there's rounded corners, if it's like a triangle-shaped phone, I don't remember.
So this goes back to what we were saying before, that it's the beginning of the death of apps. Because if it's web, it will respond.
It doesn't matter. Which would you?
Out
what
of the
was
two,
your preference? Yeah.
So I really battled with this. I had to first of all take personal feelings off the table and abilities to bash and not bash. I've always been a Huawei fan. I was involved with the company in South Africa. I did a lot of events with them, and I think they build a really good product. I know the Americans and maybe the Australian government don't agree with me. However, I would have to go with the Samsung Fold, and I'll tell you why. I do agree with you that the Huawei Mate folded better and fitted and seemed more compact. But where they got it wrong, my opinion, is the screen folds on the outside. Where Samsung got it right is they had a third screen effectively on the outside. So when the thing was closed or folded, you weren't potentially going to damage a screen. The back of the phone was the back of the phone, like your phone now. It had nothing. The front was a screen that could still see the calls coming through, etc. And then when you open it, I tell you what did bug me about them opening it. They've put the camera in the top right corner. It's not balanced. It bugs me. If you do a video call with the thing there, where do you hold the phone?
Yeah,
so it should have been in the middle. Well. So that was a bit of an afterthought. And looking at what they've done with the new Galaxies, with the S10, with that little pinhole.
Why wouldn't they have done the same thing?
Correct. Yeah. But I think it has to do with their tech, and they needed this because in that bend, how do you put the camera, right? So these are things they have to sort out. I also think that the features inside the Fold, the way their interface was built in their software, will let you run the multiple apps, and they do size it correctly.
They do.
If you put 2 on the one screen, it fits into normal screen size. And then if you use the half of the other screen, it's the same as having a full screen. So there they've actually put some thought into it. I do think, though, that the Mate is easier to carry, even though you're folding the screen on the outside. Yeah. And when it opens, it's bigger. It's an 8-inch. Yeah. Not a 6.9 or whatever it was. So, but if I was going to spend my money, probably the Fold. I think. I need to touch them. That was the other big bugbear. Neither Huawei nor Samsung let people touch
play
them.
with yeah.
Now that tells me they're not actually ready for production. That if you were holding it, you're going to do something wrong. Maybe they've been trained to do that. I have a problem with that kind of thing. I want to be able to touch it, feel it, put open, close, bend it, like do stuff to it. So we'll have to
Fold
see.
says April. Neither one showed what
April's
happens.
now. It's like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's close. Neither one showed what happens if you bend it too far.
Or sit on it.
Yeah.
I've sat on my phone before.
Yeah,
like
of
not
course.
even I'm talking about my back pocket, like on the couch.
Sure.
So
Well,
it's going to be interesting.
Or drop it.
What's very interesting is Samsung's talking or mentioning that certain fruit companies and others are talking about licensing the screen tech already. So they've obviously got it right. And I don't think Samsung's not the company that makes announcements and then doubles back. If they're saying April, it will come out in April.
You mentioned Sony's a screen company. Is Samsung the screen company?
Sure.
Four
TV screens are
fruit
amazing.
companies. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Well, that was Apple's big thing, right? They were buying Samsung screens. Be that as it may, though, we've spoken about both of them. Let's summarize it with both of them. They've both put their hands up and made a great product. They've done something that's different. Will version 2 be better? Hell yeah. Think about the Nokia communicator and then the second one that came out.
Sure.
Half the thickness, more features, color screen, and that was in a year. Like in 1 year, they went from nice, cool concept. I had both to this really sexy, awesome phone. The last one that I have, and I know we're pretty much getting to the show. I didn't even bother about XR on that because I knew we would be today. The last one that I had was Motorola, which was part of Lenovo. That disappointed me. They launched their Razr, but it's a traditional Razr. It actually had physical buttons and a screen.
But this wasn't a Razr 4, was it?
Yeah, but I was waiting for them to put the dual screen Razr.
Well, that's there's some obviously user sort of imagination, but what they've seen in the Razr 4, again, I was talking about this earlier today, it's like, if you're going to have a foldable phone, you could go double the screen size, or you go half of what we have now to have the same experience with a full.
That's smaller, and that's
18,
what the Motorola was aiming at. Oh, speaking of foldable, there was one more that I had to mention: LG's screen case.
Oh yeah, I had that.
So you put your phone in, you put your phone in a case, and then it connects and makes the second screen. So like think of a Game Boy. So your one screen, your touch screen becomes the controller, and the top screen becomes games. It was slated though, hey? It got terrible reviews.
They didn't do well.
Yeah, it did. Look, but again, that's what MWC is about though. It's a showcase, it's a brag. It's Vivo was there with their camera that slides up and down and hides away, so no notch, no nothing. There was some other brand, Nubia, didn't see much on them, but yeah. Did you see the guys I was talking about, the Royale guys with the first pad tie? They had a hat. A bowler hat with a screen wrapped around it.
Okay.
The guy was walking around and the screen was showing information, and so they're showing what a foldable could become a wearable.
Sure.
That's where we're going. There were no wearables at MWC. There weren't. There was like 2. So that's interesting that the wearable market is now no more.
I think wearables are going to have to change. Your kinsman, Trevor Noah, did a joke about, handsets were bigger, and then they got smaller, then they got bigger again, now they're going to get smaller again, we just lose them. But I think that the idea of an assistant in your ear or a piece of kit that is on your wrist connected to a headset, if you don't need all that screen space, and if you have glasses and an earpiece and something on your wrist is pretty much all you need. And wearables have to get more sexy. There was one that I saw that was a phone on a wrist. I can't remember who did it. If it was
the
BMW.
Bangle.
It might have been the Bangle.
Where it all starts moving, you can change the content. I think that was Nubia.
That's it. This is Nubia Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha.
And so, yes, you're kind of going there. It's got gesture control, but then the gestures get read wrong. And
how do you put it to your head for a phone call? So you have to have a headset. If you don't have a headset, then what do you do?
Well, then you're doing Dick Tracy style. You're talking to it, and the other one that I thought was a call out was to Microsoft. So the Azure Connect developer kit. So all of the Microsoft Connect, which used to be a bar connect to the Xbox, has now been resurfaced as a single small unit with one camera on it. And so that's actually now
quite interesting.
a dev kit. So
why have they given it the Azure name is because of cloud? So they're trying to make sure that's all happening in cloud?
Totally connected to the cloud, and also because of the enterprise side of things, because you're collecting all that data. And so Data
It's
goes
just so
straight
funny
to the
how
cloud.
they've moved to enterprise, right? Like Microsoft was a personal computer,
Yep.
not business computer. That was IBM space.
Yep.
You know, it's just anyway.
One other call out
Cool.
to BMW.
Yes.
So BMW has a natural interaction interface in the iNext 2021 that's supposed to be coming out. And so it's kind of like Siri, Alexa, whatever you have you. But it has a kind of pompous personality.
Is it Bond? Good day, sir.
It's got something
what
like
would
that.
you like to be today? I want to be a superhero.
But
no.
it's kind of like trying to imagine a time when you no longer have your hands on the wheel and using gestures and talking. I was just imagining, someone who really gesticulates in their conversation, just like
I talk with my hands.
does all this kind of stuff.
Can
Like,
you imagine?
no, stop! You're like, oh crap.
You see the car doing this. You say, it's just a Jewish mother in the front there moaning at her kids, and the car's like jumping up and down.
Don't do it.
I'm pretty much done. I mean, we're at the end of the show.
At the top.
Just the last thing on cars. I just have to ask a question. Can someone please go and give Elon Musk a hug? Maybe just pet him. What is this man doing? He's just lost the plot. I mean, Tesla's a mess.
Tesla's a mess. They did launch the Dragon, and SpaceX got their Dragon human, like the replacement for getting humans into space.
Oh.
So that successfully launched with a dummy in it, and that just docked at the International Space Station.
But he's a mess. He's hemorrhaging cash. He's closing down his showrooms. Look, honestly, I was chatting to a guy, David. I'll give him a shout out the other day, and he said that Elon Musk or Tesla's demise happened in one specific day in history, and that was when the VW Dieselgate happened. It was at that moment that every car manufacturer in the world realized they had to now go electric. And they're car manufacturers. They manufacture cars.
They know how to do
Tesla
it.
should have sold out to Apple when Apple wanted to buy them and made it the iCar or whatever. But this man's just gone. He's hemorrhaging money. He's making stupid decisions. It's easy for me to sit here in a little podcast studio in Sydney and say this about a billionaire, okay? But he can also become a very poor billionaire overnight if he carries on the way he is. And his brand is just getting smashed.
They did successfully launch a $35,000 Tesla 3, right?
They did. But they've also just discounted the top of the range Model S in this country by $80,000 or something stupid.
It's fantastic.
So if you bought a Model S, if you bought the Model S for $240,000 3 weeks ago, you just lost $80,000.
Yeah.
So
well, you know what? I mean, there are certainly plenty of houses where if you spent 1.2 mil, it's now worth 600,000. So
sure, but
it happens.
If you were the owner of that car and you go to your mate's house and they go, "Hey, what do you think of the car?" Your answer is, "Don't touch it. I just lost $80,000 on it."
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's true.
The brand damage, and that's what I'm talking about. I still think he's brilliant. I still like Tesla, but I just don't know what this. So someone, if our show does make it all the way to Silicon Valley, if you know Elon, just go give the guy a hug, man. Let's just make sure he's all right. Because I don't know.
As you enjoy your next Hyperloop ride to Canberra in 22 minutes from Sydney.
Yeah, but that's fine. But
still Musk.
But you know what the problem is? That he is the poster child for Ritalin. He's just all over the place. He's like, look, a squirrel. Okay, well, let's be faster than the squirrel and build a Hyperloop. Oh, well, let's send someone to Mars. No, I want to be first. Just focus on something or spin the units out. You know what I mean? He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm done on my side, man. MWC was good. It doesn't look like it disappointed. I'm going to do my damnedest to get there next year, but we'll see.
Absolutely.
You done? Finished?
Yeah, I think so.
Alrighty, well, until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.
Thanks for listening to our latest episode of The Technology Show. Remember, for more episodes, hop onto eaglewavesradio.com.au, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Catch you next time.